High up in the extreme terrain of the Himalayas, an elite military force was born. For over 2 centuries, the soldiers drawn from these peaks, the Gurkhas, have forged a reputation that terrifies their enemies and awes their allies. The icon of that reputation is the Kukuri. Its distinct forward-leaning curve makes it a surgical tool of war, but its value transcends mere utility. It serves as the spiritual soul of the Gurkha soldier. Tradition dictates a heavy burden for carrying it. According to their custom, once the kukri is drawn in battle, it must taste blood before it can be sheathed. If an enemy is not struck, the warrior must cut themselves to satisfy the blade's oath. That oath extends to their absolute foundational motto: "It is better to die than to be a coward." When a recruit recites those words, it is a literal pledge. It is a solemn contract that these soldiers have honored with their own lives, time and time again, for over 200 years. History holds the receipts for that contract. During World War II, Gurkha regiments were deployed into the suffocating jungles of Burma to hold the Allied lines against immense pressure. In May 1945, a 26-year-old named Lachhiman Gurung was manning a small forward bunker when 200 Japanese soldiers launched a dead-of-night ambush. A grenade landed directly at his feet, detonating and completely shattering his right arm. Bleeding severely in pitch darkness, Gurung jammed his rifle stock into the mud with his feet, using his remaining left hand to rack the bolt. For 4 straight hours, he held off the entire advancing force by himself. Decades later, that exact same resolve appeared on a night train in India. In 2010, a retired Gurkha named Bishnu Shrestha was riding quietly in civilian clothes when 40 armed bandits boarded the train, attacking passengers and attempting to abduct a young girl. Shrestha stood up, drew his kukri, and engaged them alone. He dispatched 3 attackers immediately and wounded 8 others, causing the remaining 29 to drop their weapons and flee the train in absolute terror. These aren't myths, they are documented events. Today, modern nations continue to export this level of absolute factual loyalty to serve their flags. Yet, as we look at how this sacrifice is rewarded around the world, a deep paradox emerges. Foreign militaries actively recruit directly from Nepal, searching specifically for men who possess an indomitable spirit. To find them, recruiters subject candidates to one of the most punishing physical filters on Earth. Young men must sprint up steep, muddy Himalayan trails carrying a woven basket, a doko, loaded with 70 pounds of rocks. Thousands apply every single year, pushing their bodies to absolute failure, but the passing rate is consistently less than 2. They transition from rural civilians into highly curated elite defense assets. Once selected, these men are deployed across the globe to the armed forces of the UK, India, France, and Singapore. For those in the UK and India, legal battles have successfully secured long-term residency and equal pension rights. But the situation in Singapore is starkly different. The Gurkha contingent forms a vital pillar of security, protecting maximum security sites and VIPs. They are giving the highest security clearances and trusted with the safety of the state. Yet the immigration system treats them entirely as transient, temporary labor. Under national law, a Gurkha must retire by age 45. The exact moment they hit that retirement age, they are legally barred from remaining in Singapore and are systematically deported back to Nepal. A soldier hands over the entire prime of their adult life to keep a city safe, only to be banished from its borders the minute they take off the uniform. The personal toll of this policy is severe. After spending 25 years navigating one of the most advanced, modern metropolises on Earth, a veteran is suddenly airdropped back into rural agrarian Nepal, a country that has changed significantly since they left as a teenager. But the heaviest burden falls on the secondary victims, their children. These children are born in Singapore, educated in local schools, and integrated into the society alongside their peers. Yet, because their fathers are expelled, the children are stripped of their residency rights as well. Their social ties are severed, and their educational pathways are abruptly derailed. They are forced to relocate to a country they have never lived in, effectively erasing the only home culture they know. This exposes the harsh reality of their modern arrangement. The men pledge unquestioning loyalty, and the state readily accepts their sacrifice, but strictly denies their families the basic dignity of a permanent home. Through 2 world wars, jungle conflicts, and modern counter-terrorism operations, the Gurkhas have held up their end of the bargain. They have never faltered, and they have never been cowards. Now, the burden of loyalty rests on the institutions that deploy them. Singapore's repatriation policies extract maximum utility without offering reciprocal security. Granting permanent residency and educational rights to these veterans and their families is a moral necessity, the final step in honoring a lifetime of sacrifice. If a state asks men to stand in the dark and bleed for its safety, it must offer them a place to stand when the fighting is done. Reciprocating that loyalty is the only way to ensure this 200-year-old contract remains unbreakable.